why should a company implement kind of a reverse mentoring, right? I mean, we were taught in our MBA schools, but as a practitioner for more than 2 decades, what's the benefit, right? Why should firms do this? Because again, many firms probably know about it, yet may not have either taken the step or the courage or the bandwidth or whatever the reason may be. But then there are others who have actually made it happen. So what's the benefit to the company in actually doing something like this?
So maybe before I answer that question, I'll take a step back, Nikhil, and then maybe talk a bit about some of the data points, right?
Sure.
In one of the latest global survey, it was mentioned that if you look at specifically Generation Z, okay, they are close to 30% of the world population, okay, and 25% of them are in workforce. And if you look at organization, and especially if you look at an IT organization or a technology organization, a Gen Z plus a young talent with 3 to 5 years of experience, maybe around 30 or 35% of the organization, right? When you have such a large growth, then from an organization perspective, it becomes very, very important that what kind of talent programs, talent initiative, what you are running, which will also help in the larger engagement and retention. So the way I would kind of position it, that reverse mentoring actually becomes one of those many such initiatives, okay, which today organizations are really looking forward, saying that, how do I manage the overall engagement of my changing demographics? And in terms of specifically looking at the benefits of reverse mentoring and why it should become very, very important for an organization, I would say there are three things, and this is primarily basis my experience, Nikhil. One, this kind of initiative helps to drive a very strong, inclusive, and diverse culture in the organization, right? If we look at that young population, right, they are hungry about being heard. They are hungry about setting up their identity, right? And when organizations have this kind of programs where they are leveraging their skill set for the larger leadership team, I would say it brings in a certain kind of psychological safety within them, right? And which results in higher productivity and performance. So one, from a culture perspective, it becomes very important. Secondly, as an organization, I would say that it has actually become a learning tool, right? It's just that it's an intergenerational learning tool where instead of, a trainer from outside or always the leaders who comes and kind of coaches us, it becomes a young talent who start training or coaching, your leadership team. So that's how I would look at as an intergeneration training tool. And thirdly, I would say this also becomes important for our leaders, okay, to understand the pulse on the ground. Because see, when you are interacting so closely, and so openly with the younger talent, it also helps you understand how they're thinking, what are their thought process, what are their priorities. So you kind of drive a larger collaborative culture in the organization. So I think from an organization perspective, that's why it becomes important that how they keep on investing in such initiatives for larger engagement of young talent, plus where even the senior leaders gets benefited.